As you were probably able to tell by that intro, we have the Audi RS5, but not just any Audi RS5, the Audi Rs5 Competition Plus. The normal Audi RS5 starts at 89,000 euros. The one that we have right here is going to set you back 126,625 euros. That is a lot of numbers and also a lot of euros. Should you be spending that extra amount on the Competition Plus package? Well, it does offer a lot of things, and we're going to check those out, what they are in this video. The real heart of the car is the engine in here, which is the same as in the RS5 and the RS4, which is a 2.9 liter bi-turbo V6 engine, which just looks amazing. It produces 450 horsepower and 600 Newton meters of torque, which is the exact same as in the normal RS5, which is a little bit unfortunate because with the Competition Plus I would have expected maybe a little bit more horsepower, a little bit more Newton meters, but in general it just looks really nice in here. Also the carbon hood on here is going to cost you an extra 500 euros. We have a big air intake in the front, and another thing that you can see, because the two turbos are below this cover, we also have the exhaust on the back for the turbos, which just look amazing and big, and I just love that. And in my opinion, it just looks like the car was built around the engine, because it just fits in here perfectly, and it's just a massive engine as well, which is really nice. The top speed of this is 290 kilometers an hour, which is a little bit more than the normal RS5, which only goes to 250 kilometers an hour. So if you do get the Competition Plus, you can go up to 290. If you don't live in Germany, then that's probably not going to matter to you too much. Also, if you're not going on the track. But if you get the normal competition, you can also get up to 280 kilometers an hour. If you do want to check that out, the 290, we have a video on the top left corner on the Autobahn trying to hit that top speed, where we actually hit it. The car can go from 0 to 100 in 3.9 seconds, but with the Competition Plus, or the competition in general, you get an extra 0.1 because of a different transmission layout, or transmission software layout, which is going to get you that 0.1 seconds lower, so 3.8 seconds. To see if that actually was worth it, we're going to take it on a 0 to 100 test now. So let's see if it actually can reach that 3.8. We are going to turn traction control fully off just so we can get that launch control, and then we're going to try it right here. So 3.8 is claimed, which is 0.1 quicker than the normal RS5. So let's see if that's actually possible. 3.79. I'm just the best driver because he got 3.84 and he's a shitty driver. So there we go. Below that 3.8 mark, that is how you do it. That is a very quick way. We're going to try it one more time. If it goes below 3.8 once again, then I'm just the best driver that exists in reality. Okay, so let's try it again. We got 3.79. Let's see what we can get now. Some shitty on the road there. Some shitty. 3.91. Okay, well that was okay. We had a negative slope as well. We did have a little bit of wheel spin at the start, but just the way it kicks up is just amazing. You feel like you're lifting off, and then those shifts are just so aggressive, and it's amazing. With that, new transmission that you have in the mapped transmission that you have in here, they just shift up so quickly, and the S-tronic gear selector it just works wonders when it comes to the transmission. Let's take a look at the design of the RS5, which just looks amazing in my opinion. We have a really, really aggressive and sporty look from the front, and just looks great. With the RS5 competition, you also get the optic black package. You can also get the optic black package plus for 300 euros extra, which we have on here. On here we have a beautiful RS5 logo on there, not like a competition like BMW has below, which is a little bit unfortunate because some people might even not know that you have the Competition Plus package with the black logo on there. And you can also see on the bottom, or badge, you can see on the bottom we have carbon fiber trims on the side and also on the bottom and on the side right here, which is going to set you back an extra 1,910 euros. They come in the front and also on the back, and some other black or carbon touches, which looks pretty cool and looks pretty aggressive. We also on here have our lights, which are the Audi LED matrix laser lights, which are amazing. You have this like blue line in there, or the laser in there, which looks very, very nice at night. We can show you some pictures of that, and also has a welcoming effect, and those lights are just amazing. We do also have real air intakes everywhere that you can see, so there's nothing fakery about it. Apart from on the side of the lights, there is a fake air intake here, which just looks a little bit more aggressive. I personally wouldn't actually put that on there. It just doesn't look that cool because it is fake, but it does kind of due to the optics, but honestly I wouldn't have chosen it. We also again have this black line with all the new Audis up on the top, which does look a little bit interesting as well because it's not an intake. Let's go over onto the side where we have these beautiful huge wheels. These wheels you can only get with the Competition Plus package, or with the Competition package, which are very, very nice wheels. These are 20-inch wheels, which look amazing with the blue caliper on here, and the highlight, we have the ceramic brakes on here, or ceramic brakes, which cost an extra 6,400 euros, is it? Or 6,000 euros? 6,400 euros extra. And if you go on track or live in Germany and go on the Autobahn a lot, then these are really worth it, because they just are amazing. There you go, up to 1,410 Celsius, which is just way better, and they also weigh around 55 or 50% less than your steel alloy wheels, or your steel brakes, I mean. And these are just amazing. So if you go on track a lot, you can definitely pick these up, but they're going to cost a lot to replace, but they should last you a long time if you know how to correctly take care of them. But let's actually do a brake test to see how quick they brake, because Audi claims 2 meters less than with these steel brakes. So let's actually see how quick they are from stopping from 100 kilometers down to that 0 kilometers. Obviously 31 is claimed. I don't know if we can reach that because, well, that's a lot of shit. Well, maybe because we just drove through a lot of shit, so maybe that's the issue. We'll see how quickly we can get from 100 to 0 with shit on the wheels. Let's first of all do it on a road that is not the most prepared road. And you can definitely hear or you can feel it, we did spin quite a lot, or slid quite a lot. So let's actually see what we got when it came to the value. We got a distance, 34 meters, even though the track was not that well prepared and there was a lot of shit on the wheels. So we'll do it one more time, and the road up here is a little bit more prepared, so we'll see how well that goes. 2.62 seconds, that was actually the fastest we've been able to get so far, so that might be a fairly good value. We did spin, but it felt like a little bit less than the other one. So let's see what we got. We got 36 meters. So one last final time. Okay, 2.63, but it just feels so aggressive when you're trying to stop that. But it does still spin a lot, which might be due to the fact that we do obviously have some dirt on there. So 35 meters once again, or 35, 36, and 34. So we basically got all three of them. 31 is claimed. If the track is probably more prepared and a little bit more grippy. We did have a lot of rain, so a lot of grease might have come out now because of the sun onto the road. So it might not be the best track, as well as the ceramic brakes might not be all the way up to temperature. So you could probably get it done 31 meters if you're on a well-prepared track. But if you're using on a daily basis, you're probably never going to get that 31 meters. So the biggest benefit that you're probably going to get from ceramic brakes is, first of all, their lifespan. They can last up to almost 300,000 kilometers if you really just use them normally like you would with other brakes and don't go on track much. If you go on track, they're obviously going to be great as well, because you can really heat them up to get them to that optimal temperature and really get the full potential out of ceramic brakes, because ceramic brakes are just way better when it comes to braking performance. The side of the RS5 also looks amazing. We again have the wonderful RS5 logo on the side with no competition on there, which would have been nice. We have side mirrors in carbon, which are 840 euros extra. And the color on here is the Sebring Black, which you only get with the competition packages, as it is a crystal effect color and looks very, very nice. When it's dark and not really much sun shining on it, it's black. When right now it looks a little bit purple in my opinion, and sometimes it also looks a little bit blue. So you have three colors in one, which is amazing. So it's a great deal, 3 in 1. If we go further on the side, we do have keyless go on the front and the back, and we also have a roof capacity of, or roof clearance, not clearance, roof weight, whatever it's called, of 90 kilograms, which is quite a lot as well. And also the fuel tank up here, which we're going to check out in a second. But first of all, we're going to look at the ground clearance, because the ground clearance is 12.3 centimeters. That is fairly low, and the normal RS5 has 14.3 centimeters, so 2 centimeters lower. You can opt to get, you get 1 centimeter lower, but if you want to manually change it to another centimeters lower, so this currently is 13.3 centimeters, you can do that because you have the coilover suspension, or the Audi Sport suspension, suspension here, which just makes the car lowered by 2 centimeters. If you want to do that manually, you can adjust that, and it just gives you a way more sporty drive feeling, which is really, really great. And obviously that's one thing we're going to check out right now. So what this car is really meant for is to drive it on a fast road or on the track, mostly for track racing, because you got that coil-over suspension. That coil-over suspension is going to allow you to just be more agile and just allow you to get that lower suspension, so the whole car is going to be lowered by that 1 centimeter or 2 centimeters if you want it, and it's just going to allow you to get more focus on the track and in general just get a way more sporty driving feeling. You also get a new the active anti-roll bar that you get in the RS models and the competition models in particular, which are going to allow you to be more agile, as well as the rear sway bar, which is again a little bit bigger, just so it gives you that more agility that you have around the corners. Let's look at the way it just turns into the corners. There is no oversteer, no understeer. It just sounds amazing, and it feels amazing. It feels great. Let me put it that way, because I keep saying amazing. It feels great. And those brakes as well, they just really kick you in. Let's go back on to driving a little bit quicker, where you can... It's just an amazing sound. You can obviously also do it manually. You can shift manually if you want by switching this over on to manually, and you can see on the heads-up display that it changes to manually. And some people, or some of you, might be very happy about that, because there is a thing in here which changes from the normal RS5. If you hit the red line, it's not going to automatically shift up. You're going to have to do that manually, so the rev limiter is just going to stop you right at that red line. Let's put it down just so you can see when you hit that red line, it's not going to shift automatically. There you go, you can hear that rev limiter. It doesn't sound great if you hit it, but it certainly is there. So if you want to hit that, you can definitely do it in the Rs5 Competition. However, if you only press it on here, it's not going to be, or use the pedals, it's not going to be in full manual mode, so you're still going to have to flip this lever over, which also feels great because it does have that Alcantara on there. We do have this 8-speed S-tronic system in here, or the transmission in here, which does wonders. It obviously is not as fast as some other quick cars that you can buy in the price range, but the shifts are fairly great. You obviously get the 0.1 second quicker. That is due to a different transmission software update, meaning those shifts are going to be a little bit quicker and just get you up to that 0.1 second quicker, so the 3.8 seconds. We were, like I said, able to get 3.74 in the test, if I remember correctly. So you can definitely get it below that. If you have optimal track temperature, you can definitely get it further down as well. You don't get any ceramic brakes on the back. You can see we just have normal steel brakes on here. Obviously it's not really worth it, because the back brakes, if you're going high speeds, are not going to be affected that much. So it's going to save you a lot of money, because you don't have to replace the back too, because to replace those in the front, you're probably going to be looking to spend around 6,000 euros, which is quite a lot. On the top, we also have our fuel tank, which holds 58 liters, which is not that much considering if you are driving a little bit faster. The WLTP claims 9.5 liters up to 10 liters. We've been getting, well, the highest we've gotten was 19.7, I think it was, right? 19.7 liters, that's when we were trying to get our top speed. And not even that. It was driving fairly sporty, wasn't it? Yep. Yeah, okay. And if you want to get it down lower, the lowest we've been able to get was around 11, but that was still with a couple of minutes in the RS mode. So you can definitely get it to, I think, that 10 WLTP claims if you just drive it in the comfort mode. But if you're driving an RS5, you don't really care about the price of the fuel, because you got the money to pay for this car, so you probably can afford to tank this or fuel this thing once every week, I'd say. Because 58 liters, it's going to run out of fuel fairly quickly. The back of the Audi Rs5 is just amazing. This is my favorite part of the car, because it just looks so amazing. We have this big ass diffuser on the back, which is out of carbon. Obviously you get that with the 1,810 euros extra carbon package, which we also saw on the front. And also we have the exhaust system, which we're going to take a look at in a second. Let's first of all continue up on the top, where we have a spoiler, which you could theoretically also get in carbon, as we had on the Rs5, for instance. We had a carbon spoiler on the back, and the back just looks really, really clean as well, because you don't have a wiper on there, so it just makes it look very like a sweeping back, which just looks amazing with the 4-door. You could also optionally also get the coupe version, so you have a 2-door variant. We also have the lights on the back as well, which just look very aggressive as well. And again, the fake side air intakes that we had on the front, but they don't actually do anything because they're fake, so it doesn't look that nice. I don't know if you can really see it now, but the car even looks a little bit more purple from the back now, which looks pretty cool. But let's talk about the exhaust system, which is the Audi Sport Exhaust System Plus. So a step up from the Exhaust System Plus, or the exhaust system, which is amazing. This thing is a valve exhaust system and it just sounds amazing. Let's actually do a quick sound check on it. You can hear even in these lower RPMs just the pops and bangs in the back. I'll just let you listen for a second. Let's take a look at the trunk of the RS5, because you might not expect the biggest trunk, but the car is fairly long, so you do get a good amount of space in here. 465 liters. If you do flip over the back seats, you get up to 1,280 liters. Another thing that you might see in here is you have this cover covering your beautiful toolkit for your suspension, or your Sport Suspension Pro, that's what it's called, which is your coilover suspension. And in here you have your hammer and sigil, just like in the Soviet Union, which obviously you can take out and then you can adjust your suspension. And there's some other features in here, which looks pretty cool. It is nothing special, but it's special to have if you have the car, because that's obviously going to allow you to change the car, the suspension a little bit. Under here we also have a false floor. If we take out this layer, we can flip that up, and you can see in there we have a little bit more space, as well as our battery down there. So if you could theoretically put some stuff in there, but I wouldn't recommend that. But in general, the size in here is great if you want to use it for daily usage, so you can put a lot of bottles in there, or a lot of stuff, your daily grocery stuff like that. So it's a fairly usable car for your daily usage as well. The front of the RS5 also has a lot of touches in here. For instance, the carbon touches, which cost €1,000 extra. But for instance, you have your center console is part carbon, as well as on the top carbon with the Quattro sign on there as well, just to let you know you have the wonderful Audi Quattro system, which just works wonders in the wet as well. And that's a fly in the car now. We can see that the infotainment system is obviously still the old A5. The new A5 is going to come out soon, so there is going to be a facelift in there. Probably going to look like the new A6. But this infotainment system works well. You have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, both wireless, which is nice as well. If you want to charge your phone, you have some inductive loading right down there, and a USB-C up in there. But you don't have that much space in here, which is kind of unfortunate. So you can't really put any like bottles in there or something like that. But if you do want to put some bottles in here, you do have some cup holders in the front, which are very nice. And they also have some ambient lighting in the middle. And in the bottom, you also have your USB-C and another 12-volt port in there. We have our 8-speed S-tronic gear selector in here, which is very nice. Well, the transmission is an 8-speed S-tronic. And with the Alcantara touch on there, which is very nice and feels very comfortable. It's very nice because you do have a big, like, gear selector, not like in the RS3 that you just have that little pinkly thing, which is not that nice. But again, another nice RS logo on the bottom. You can also see that we have the RS design in gray in here. On the seats, for instance, we have all of our gray touches in here, as well as on the side, your stitches are all going to be in gray. You could optionally also get that in red. And one thing that you might have noticed if you look at the seats, we don't have the bucket seats in here, which you could get with the competition package. So you get the bucket seats in there as well, which look very nice, but they might not be as comfortable, because these are very comfortable. You do have leather seats, so you are going to sweat in there a good amount, but you have a massage function in here, you have memory function, and electrical seats on both sides, which is very nice. And you also have this pretty cool button, which I love about Audi, for your passenger, so you can select, or you can skip the song, make it louder and pause it and turn it off. If we take a look at the steering wheel is not the sport steering wheel. However, we still have all of the Alcantara around here with the RS on the bottom, and also the most famous RS button on the side for your RS5. Would have been nice if this would have been like in BMW or Mercedes most likely, where you have the like little knob on the side where you can select through the different modes. That would have been cool. Other than that, you just have the drive select mode on the bottom here, which is not the nicest. We also have our 3-zone climate control in here, which is nice. Heated seats as well, not cooled seats. but that's about it. We also have a heads-up display and a digital cluster display, and other than that we also have again the carbon touches on the side and some Alcantara on the side, which does feel very, very nice, and it's a good quality. However, if you go further down, you don't have the best quality, and up on the console on here I would have expected something else. For 126,000 euros, this does feel pretty cheap, and I would have maybe like a leather or something like that, like a cheap leather would have been nicer. We also have the Bang & Olufsen sound system in here, which sounds good, doesn't sound great, but you can get it if you want. We also have the RS touches on our foot mats, whatever they're called, which is cool, as well as on the sideboard we have it on there, and then on night it projects the lights on the Audi Sport logo on the side as well. Let's talk a little bit about the infotainment display and the digital cockpit. You can see it's still the A5 that came out in 2020 from the facelift. There's going to be a facelift soon, so this is probably going to change up. For instance, like the RS3 looks or the RS6, that's most likely what the interior is going to look like, if I'd have to guess. You can change the digital cockpit by going into options and then your heads-up display and your digital cockpit. You can change the virtual cockpit layout. We have the RS runway, which I personally am not the biggest fan of, just due to the fact that it looks, well, the RPMs go in the wrong way in my opinion. You could obviously also go the RS performance, which we have seen plenty of, for instance in the RS3, so basically it's the exact same heads-up display and everything as in the RS3. But let me quickly show you before we go on. We have the RS Performance, where your RPMs go from left to right, and we also have the more default layout, which is the RS Sport. I personally like this one, but I still mostly like the RS Runway because it's different. We also have the different views on here, so you can see the car, which is a normal A5, it's not an RS5. But that's about it. One thing I would have liked to see, if the shift pedals would have, with the RS Competition, would have been a little bit bigger and just more special. But that's about it for the digital cockpit. You can obviously show you just the normal stuff that you have in there as well. Obviously in here it's the same. We've talked a little bit more about it in the A4, which has the same cockpit still, and the RS3, so it's the same as in any other Audi that you have nowadays, which is completely fine. You have Apple CarPlay Wireless and Android Auto, and also your inductive loading, so you can do whatever you need. The surrounding view of the car is also fairly decent. You do have fairly small side mirrors. Obviously that's because of aerodynamics, and just in general bigger ones wouldn't fit on here nicely. We have a fairly big rear window, so you can see out of that. If it's raining, obviously you don't have a wiper on there, just to make it look a little bit more clean. But if there's rain on there, you gotta drive a little bit faster to get it off. But in general, you don't have big pillars, so the view is actually fairly decent. You also have the rear view cameras and a 360-degree camera, which I would definitely recommend, because first of all, you have fairly big wheels. You can get up to the 21-inch wheels. So if you, for instance, back out of somewhere or don't want to scratch them, those things, or the 360-degree camera is perfect, because it allows you to basically see everything on the side. You can also have a different views, for instance out the back. You can see the side, you can see the back if anybody's coming, and then just in general you can see the wheels right there as well, which is very, very nice, because if you're not trying to scratch them, that's going to help you. We do have the 360-degree camera, so if you back out, obviously it's going to show you everything that you need. You can also automatically park this car, so it's also fairly comfortable driving in the city. We do have a turning radius of, well, the normal RS5 has 11.7 meters, and I didn't find any actual turning radius stats for the Rs5 Competition Plus, but I expect it to be a little bit higher due to the fact that you're, with the coilover suspension, you're a little bit lower, so the turning radius is going to be a little bit affected by that. So I'd say around 11.8, maybe even the same 11.7, so right around that, which is fairly high. Not the greatest turning radius, but the car is also fairly long. The back is also very spacious, as you can see. The car is fairly long, so you do have a lot of legroom in here. You can see if you're even over the height of like a meter or 2 meters, you're still gonna have legroom. However, your headroom is not gonna be that good. We have had a person in here who is 1.93 meters tall, and he's definitely gonna hit his head on here. So 1.90 meters, anything above that, it's not gonna be comfortable anymore, because you're just gonna be, you're gonna have to sit a little bit like that. Otherwise, you're gonna hit your head on the back, and if somebody accelerates, it's just gonna go further back. However, the seats in here, again, very comfortable. We have the grey touches going through onto the back as well as on the side, as you can see. The center seat is a little bit elevated, so it's isolated from the other seats, and the ISOFIX points in here are very easy to reach as well, as they have little caps you can just take off. We also have a center console you can flip over, and then we have this like transformer kind of cup holders in here, which are pretty cool. So you have 2 of those, and you also have a little bit of center console where you can, I don't know, I've never actually understood what you put in here, maybe like keys or something, but not really that useful. And you can also flip over the center console, so you have a tunnel in here, so you can put some skis through there or anything like that. With a big roof capacity of 90 kilograms, you're also going to be able to put a lot of stuff on there. So if you're going on a ski trip, perfect car for that. We also have a climate in the back, which you can change manually in temperature. And we have a 12 volt, not a 12 volt, well, we do have a 12 volt and 2 USB cables in here, or charger in there. On the side, again, carbon touches in the back, just like we had in the front, and also some Alcantara on the side, and the Bang & Olufsen sound system with a little bit of a piano black on the top, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but that's just how it is. Otherwise, quality in here in the back is fairly decent, and like I said, great amount of legroom. So what can I really say about the car? Well, this car is just amazing to drive. It was a pleasure driving this car, and thank you again for Audi for providing us with this car again. And obviously, you would really require a track to be able to fully use the potential of this car. And if you live in the States or UK, for instance, you don't have the access to an Autobahn, so you're probably not even going to reach anywhere above 100 miles per hour, even though that's already illegal. But this thing, the corner handling, the sound, and just the emotions in general that you get from this. The competition package also gives you so much compared to, for instance, the Volvo Polestar that we had. That really didn't give you that much extra for 18,000 euros. And this for 11,000 euros gives you a lot of extra, like the sound that you get, and the color, and also the wheels, and just the suspension that you get. It's just amazing. And I'm really happy with this car. It is, however, a really expensive car. And if that's what you're looking after, then maybe it is the perfect car for you. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.